Welcome back to the rest of the story. Now, I've mentioned it in the past that I was going to try to come up this spring and help my friend do some plowing. I've never plowed before, and it was kind of cutting it close as to whether or not I was going to be able to help him. I mean, he called me last night, and I talked to him this morning, and all I did is I went down this afternoon and was able to do this. Um, Things are getting pretty busy at home that it basically boiled down to if I didn't help him today, I wasn't going to be able to help him. So, granted, it didn't take me that long to get up there, but you guys have seen us. We were up here a couple times now. Last year we did something similar where we were doing the three tractors. We brought up both of our field disc, the 630, and the VT, and my friend Ryan ran his disc also, and we all three worked down all of his corn stalks so he could get them chisel plowed. Now it's just being, I don't know, do you want to say it's being neighborly or friendly? I'd say it's more or less being friendly because he's my friend, but it's also a fun experience too. I mean, granted, the disking last year when we were working those stalks in, all three of us, there was a kind of a just to do it factor in there too because it was really fun to run three tractors right in line like we did. I mean, we all had fun with it. Even my dad was having a blast. But myself, I've never five bottom plowed before, or why don't we just say plowed before. A little bit of a learning experience. It's it's enjoyable for the most part. It's incredibly slow. I mean, Dad's told me that for years. It goes against everything about tillage. It goes against everything against tillage that I've come to know. Like at the end of the field, I'm used to chisel plowing, seed bed finishing with the disc, the VT. When I get to the end of the field, I want to spin around and drop back in and come back right in the same pass. For those of you that have already done this before, that is not the case. You can't do that, especially with the plow that we're pulling. Now, if you had a rollover plow, a turnover plow, that's a different story, and it would probably move a little bit faster. I've heard people talk about those rollover plows that by the time you get turned around and you roll the plow over, that you still don't gain as much time as you think you would. I mean, yeah, they do say it is faster, but I mean, I'm really not in a position to sit and talk about it. But this is my first and hopefully maybe not my last time plowing like this. We did talk about me helping him again next year if everything works out. He said he's planning on getting the stalks made off of this field this fall. So going into 2019, there won't be any residue in the field to really contend with. I mean, we did have some plugging issues, but it seems like it can't be helped. Not so much from the coulters. It's just you can see the stalks that get above the blades. They get behind the coulters, and then they just sit there. But I don't know. It was fun. I didn't get any really decent shots of my friend running in the 4320. Hopefully, my brother did. It's my brother Ryan and the guy that I'm helping. I've mentioned him 1,000 times before. It's my friend Ryan. He was using the John Deere 4320. If you guys are on my Instagram, you probably have a pretty good idea as to when we were doing this. The 7600 had no problem pulling this five bottom plow whatsoever. I really didn't think I would, but I had power to burn. My buddy Ryan, he was third gear wide open, and he was working that tractor pretty hard. He could do fourth, but he said he was redlining it too much, and he didn't want to risk overheating the tractor. But he mentioned it. He asked me a couple times once we made a few rounds, and he's like, "Oh, you must be pulling pretty easy, right?" And it's like, "Yeah, no problem." It's like I'm running about 5 miles an hour at 1,500 RPMs. I never ran the tractor wide open all day. Yeah, I have really good tires in the back. I was running the front wheel assist, but the 7600 played with us, and like I said, I expected it to, but that was kind of the only problem I really had is because I had so much power, more power than what I needed. Is that I was jumping around between gears throughout the whole day. I was up. I was running 12th gear and a 19-speed power shift. I was anywhere from 9th gear to 12th gear, depending on where I was at. Um, this is bottom ground, but it's dry. Bottoms are notorious for having some wet spots, so I was a little bit leery about that. But like I said, we really didn't have any issues, and we were rolling right along for the most part. Um, I will say, when it comes to plowing, I would not want to do this on all of our acres. I can respect doing it for exactly what they're doing for it right now. They're burying residue. They have a lot of residue on top of the ground. Um, we're going through and we're burying it. It'll help it decompose better, and it'll help them make a better seed bed. Myself, I do like our chisel plow. I like it very much so. Um, yeah, when you do chiseling or basically anything else that's out there, it leaves more residue on the ground. Seems like anymore we're getting to the point where, to help with conservation, you're trying to leave more residue on the ground to protect the soil from rain and wind erosion. But down in this area, this is the only part of their whole farm that they plow. Everything else is either ripped because they go through with either a ripper in the fall, and in the spring, if they don't get everything quite ripped, they'll go through and they'll hit it with the chisel plow. I did have, oh man, I wish I could find that footage again. I have footage of him and I chisel plowing together. I was up by his place one night and I pulled into the field when he was out working, and I went and made a few passes. We were running in tandem together. That would have been a couple nice video shots if I could have gotten the footage. But yeah, I don't know. As far as this goes, I mean, we ran all afternoon. It took a little bit to get going, but it's really not that hard to figure out. Once you get your lines and a rhythm going or a routine going, you really can't mess up. I mean, granted, you can see my lines weren't perfect going back and forth, but I contribute that a lot to just beginner. I wasn't used to how the machine handles, because that does have that rear steering wheel. That's what that bar is in the center right of the screen. But I don't know. It wasn't too bad. It'd be interesting to know how a full integral mounted plow would work without the rear axle. Um, I do understand now after doing this why you see these guys running up to what 8, 9, 10 bottom plows. It's because you have to. Because we were 3/4 the width of the tractors, so it seems like even after you make 6 passes, that you're really not getting anywhere. But I don't know. Hopefully next year I can go up and help them again, and get another chance at doing it. we like I say, we end up running for like 7 or 8 hours, but all right. That's all I had for that, guys. I wish I would have gotten more, but it was, like I said, it was slow going once we got started. But until tomorrow, take care, take it easy, keep in touch.